Welcome back to Headlines. I'm Wes Austin, and these are today's top stories. First up, President Trump calls out Pete Buttigieg's hiring practices. Buttigieg's is hard to say. He calls out Pete Buttigieg's hiring practices at the FAA, and he roasts Pete like only Trump can do. Then RFK Jr. puts Bernie Sanders in the hot seat over his pharmaceutical money ties. And let's just say Bernie's denial skills are almost as strong as his love for other people's money. Meanwhile, at a charity event for the LA wildfire victims, Pink tried to make it political. For those of you who don't know Pink, she used to be a musician of some kind back around the year 2000. And finally, the DNC has cracked the case on why Kamala Harris lost in 2024. Spoiler alert, it has nothing to do with her and everything to do with you. All right, let's dive in. President Trump called out Pete Buttigieg. Hours after the fatal American Airlines Black Hawk crash, President Trump addressed the media. During the press conference, he pointed out some FAA hiring practices that were not based on merit.
I do want to point out that various articles that appeared prior to my entering office, and here's one. The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so. This was in January 14th, so that was a week before I entered office. They put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program.
They wanted people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities working for the FAA? I mean, sure, if you want the FAA to run like the DMV on Ambien, who was the genius behind that idea?
The FAA, which is overseen by Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a real winner. That guy's a real winner. Do you know how badly everything's run since he's run this Department of Transportation? He's a disaster. He was a disaster as a mayor. He ran his city into the ground, and he's a disaster now. He's just got a good line of bullshit. The Department of Transportation, his government agency charged with regulating civil aviation. Well, he runs it, 45,000 people, and he's run it right into the ground with his diversity.
That's the first time Ron and Pete Buttigieg have been used in the same sentence without a train derailment. When he was the transportation secretary, the FAA's slogan was, "Your safety is our 27th priority." Pete's hiring practices for the FAA don't seem to make a lot of sense, but they do explain why he took so many private jets. During RFK Jr.'s Senate hearing, he called out Bernie Sanders for taking millions in donations from the pharmaceutical industry.
I'm going to make America healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? It's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
Protecting
their interests.
Oh.
The only thing Bernie hates more than corporate money is being caught taking it. I hope Bernie took his blood pressure meds this morning.
Not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
receiver of pharmaceutical money
contributions from workers all over this country. Workers,
you were the single,
not a nickel from corporate PACs.
Bernie tried to say his millions from the pharmaceutical industry don't count because they came from workers. By that same logic, a mob boss could say, hey, I never took money from the cartel, just from their employees.
You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right.
Bernie denied it, then admitted it, then minimized it. He just ran through all 5 stages of political scandal grief in under 1 minute. I never took money from Big Pharma. You actually took $1.5 million. Okay, but in my defense, I didn't take all of their money. Pink just couldn't resist making a charity event political. At the Fire Aid benefit concert for the victims of the Los Angeles wildfires, Pink made an unexpected statement after her performance, shouting out, "Every other gender that absolutely exists," while introducing John Mayer.
Ladies and gentlemen, and every other gender that absolutely exists, I give you the incredible John Mayer.
If there's a gender for people who make everything about themselves, I think I just found it. Besides Pink's brief shout-out, the benefit concert stayed politics-free. And Green Day was even there. So Green Day stayed quiet about Trump for once, but Pink still found a way to make it about politics. That's great, Pink, because I'm sure the people who just lost everything in the fire were really looking for clarity on their pronouns. The fire destroyed everything except Pink's need to virtue signal. The Democrats figured out why they lost. At the Democratic National Committee Forum, candidates to be the new DNC chair were asked this.
I have a show of hands. How many of you believe that racism and misogyny played a role in Vice President Harris's defeat? Okay. So that's good. You all passed.
Are you sure it wasn't because you guys didn't spend enough money? I mean, you only spent $1.5 billion. They could have just said, our messaging didn't resonate with voters. Instead, they went with, America is irredeemably racist and sexist, and we're the real victims here. Democrats, treating self-awareness like it's voter ID, something they're convinced only Republicans can have. Look, we all know the real reason why Kamala Harris lost. Climate change. Thanks for watching Headlines. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm Wes Austin. Good night.